tuned into the Russian Roulette podcast.
Yo, what it do?
Yo.
I'm your host, Kenny, your favorite toxic nigga, aka the nigga that your baby mama call when you go back to jail. You are now watching another episode of the Russian Roulette podcast. Today I got first time ever 4 guests on with me at one time. I went to high school with all these people. This is kind of strange seeing y'all 5 and 6 years later, but we're gonna have a good damn discussion. Uh, we're gonna start with you, Derek. Everybody introduce themselves.
All right. I'm Derek Martin. I work in banking, a member of A5A, and just here to provide some feedback on how we can make the community better.
All right, Jeremiah.
Jeremiah Berry, social worker, novice trader, KA Sci-Fi New Pie to the day I DIE. Also looking forward to this discussion with these great group of gentlemen.
Denzel.
All right, you got Denzel Vitamin right here, military veteran, army, father too, and entrepreneur.
Wow, I didn't know you had a second child, Denzel.
I had my son like 3 months ago, man.
For real, you got a little boy now?
Yes, sir. Oh,
I think we should. I think we. I did. I like. I'm surprised. I didn't know you had another child. I like how y'all introduce yourself. I sound like I just ain't got nothing going on. So let me introduce myself. I'm Kenny, college dropout, womanizer, aka probably at your baby mother house around 10 o'clock at night, giving your kids melatonin so they can go to sleep, so I can enjoy some quality time with her. But today we're gonna be talking about empowering the. We go switch it up a little bit and get into a more serious topic. We're gonna be talking about empowering the community on all different levels, not just unifying the community, ways to unify the community, because we can't just unify them over the camera, but ways we need to start unifying the community. We're gonna talk about the lack of financial education in the community. Talk about the importance of financial literacy, and we just, individualism, just different things. But we're gonna start with you, Jeremiah. What's your thoughts on the financial education in the Black community?
I feel like there is, and the education that the Black community receives really doesn't come from a solid source to begin with. We don't have those conversations in the home. Where when I grew up, I'll be I guess personal. I didn't have those conversations in the home. I feel like I'm on the back end of the curve because I'm just really making sense of things now while I'm in it. I know we are familiar with, Mr. Hall having the personal finance, but I didn't take that class, and I'm almost sure that if any of you took it, it probably did a little justice to, what we feel like we needed to know when we, went on into the world on our own. But as far as just the financial education, I feel like as a human being, learning should always be a priority. So it shouldn't just be, something that we focus on as a child or even as an adult when we have financial crisis. But I think what's important is we always try to learn something new in general, but specifically finances, because money isn't just about, being happy. Money isn't just about being rich, but money is about true wealth. And to me, true wealth is being able to not only use money as a tool, but not work all your life. And if you don't understand passive income or 401k and retirement and living today with the thought of tomorrow, you'll never truly be free. So I think that's an issue that continues to happen over and over again in the black community. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
it's
because that's what
just
we
bizarre.
basically targeting. That's what we trying to afford. You know, I mean, no disrespect to nobody else's community, but you know, we trying to, you know, forward our community. And I noticed you said passive income. So for the viewers, could you tell them what passive income means, just in case some may hear that and we know, but they don't know.
So I like using references to sort of help people, really manifest, information long term. So I just put this video up on my story, and it was a 50 Cent, and he was like, until you'll never really make money until you're making money in your sleep. So passive income is basically that, where you don't have to go and do manual labor but still earn $1. Whether it be real estate, whether it be um, a portfolio in the stock market, Airbnb, just basically being able to acquire capital without doing any work. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, you guys can sort of add to that, but I think it's essentially that's what it's about.
Derek?
Yeah, the way I look at it for passive income is like you do all your work up front and then put your money in investment, like he said, where it's land or create a product. Like I've seen somewhere you can create an ebook that can create passive income. You do all your work up front and then you just put it out there and you just let that money roll on in. So whether you working a 9 to 5, you take your money that you get from your 9 to 5, save it up, and then you invest it, and bam, that money you saved up is now working
There
for
you
you.
go.
Right. Because I wouldn't say it's like super passive in the beginning. Like you gotta learn the field per se. Like when we was talking about like stocks or whatever. It's not really passive because we reading mad like hella books. We putting the time in and like trying to learn all the nuances about the market, trading strategies and all that. So
Okay. What are some so I mean it's kind of obvious. I mean just touching bases on I mean Derek, when it came to you growing up in Tunica, all of us grew up together. We all went to high school together, but we all lived in different parts of Tunica for one. And we all lived in
Yeah.
different houses. So, Derek, your upbringing from, child to venturing off to college, do you feel like you gained the proper education on finances, on financial literacy, or just financial education in general?
I'm gonna throw out a statistic I heard from an
Mm-hmm.
accountant. She said that basically this accountant said only 3% of Americans actually get a good quality financial education. So that's out the whole population. So just imagine what it's like for minorities, for black people.
Mm-hmm.
So I can say that
point
no, I
zero
didn't
zero
get it.
five.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I can say I didn't get a good financial education in the beginning, growing up as a child. Only thing that might come to mind is like save your money. You work, you
Yeah.
save your money. That's about all you know.
Nice.
Then when I go up to college and, had to get a little debt from my student loans, getting involved in credit, all of a sudden now I'm learning as I go. So, and that's how it is. That's a reality for a lot of people in the black community. We don't really get a good financial education until we are already thrown into debt or trying to understand paying bills, and maybe for some people paying a mortgage or then or rent like that.
Nice.
And
What
I
about you,
think
D?
if we, oh my bad, go ahead.
Are you good?
No, I was just gonna say something Derek pointed out that I want to just touch base on is, even what we may consider basics coming up was us still being at a disadvantage.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that after we sort of talk a little bit about our own narrative, that's in some part of the conversation. I know, Ken Hone, this is your part to sort of moderate, but it's like I know the people gonna be like, what do we do now? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that definitely
Oh
be
yeah.
something we jump on. But go ahead, Shabazz. Shabazz, my fault. Let me say call you by your name, man.
Yeah, man. So like my upbringing, I could say like no financial education like whatsoever. I would mention my aunt though. My aunt like she would always say something about like just saving money. You know what I'm saying? So she would talk about saving money, putting it into like CD accounts and stuff like that. And like what she was telling me was like good advice, but at the time I didn't know what none of it was, so I couldn't like build off it. But other than that, I didn't learn much about finance at all until I got older.
Yeah. I think I mean, of course, it's pretty much the same. You know, I watched my mom work 2 jobs by herself, and that's all she ever pounded in our heads was save your money, save your money, save your money. You know, and uh, I think usually in the black community, if you was raised in a pretty good household, you know what I'm saying, you had pretty good parents. You know, your parents always instilled in you to save your money. But I think that is a problem in the black community that they taught us how to save the money, but they didn't teach us how the money should make us more money. They didn't teach us, hey, you save your money, but then you take this portion of your money and you learn how to make this with your money. You know how to make that much with your money. And you know, I think it's kind of sad because you know, um, we go to school and you know, all of y'all are college educated. I mean, except for you, Denzel, you went to the army. You're a veteran, but you know, y'all two are college educated. And it's kind of a shame that we grew up in a black community. Most of us had pretty much black teachers, and even if, I mean, it's just a teacher in general. It don't matter what color the teacher was, but we did have black teachers. And you would think that those people went to schools that we went to, graduated from schools that y'all graduated from, so they had to learn about financial literacy some type of way because they were like our age or older when they were teaching us. Why didn't they take out the time to teach that on the side? You know, y'all learning about financial literacy, y'all learning about, oh, maybe y'all weren't, but I'm just assuming that y'all were learning about those things. And now, you know, it's just coming to me now like, damn, you know, it's just like, you know, it's just like a trap. Like, it's like everybody is there just to get their money and leave. Like, don't nobody give a damn for real in the
Are you
black
sure
community.
they knew?
I'm not sure they know. That's why I said I assume. I would assume they knew because y'all know.
But yeah, you would have to hope like
Yeah, you know, I'm
Oh,
just thinking like you graduated from college, y'all graduated from college. You know, that's just an assumption.
yeah,
I didn't
exactly.
graduate from college, so
I
you know,
guarantee you, the average college person has never taken a class on investing, financial literacy, or nothing in nature. And like, I'm just speaking about our generation.
right?
The good thing about our generation is that we're just realizing, like, hold up, we got cheated. We got short. What's
Yeah,
all this? Why we ain't learn all this information when we were younger? We starting to question. So then we like, hold up, you know what? I ain't learning when I was a child. So let me go and find some resources and go find what I need to learn. I don't think the generation before us had either had that mindset or never thought about it.
And
okay, okay,
even with us coming up, right? Something else they pointed out that I want to just piggyback on. A lot of the times, conversations that are being had within the education setting might have just been tailored to what that teacher taught, and they may drop off nuggets here and there where get all the education you can get for free, scholarship. You know, it's okay
Mm-hmm.
going to community college, so they may drop off nuggets. Of course, that's not as valuable in terms of what we're trying to go with with financial education, but I think something to point out is what's as important as teachers in the black community being a resource are just black children being around that type of I don't know having that type of dynamic to provoke that conversation. So it's
Yep.
like
mm,
I always sort of thought about how people I used to always have this thought in my mind that I couldn't go nobody to ask this, but it'd be how do someone keeps up a home? How does my mama rent an apartment?
Right, right.
So a question like that, I should go back and ask a teacher or a mentor that I feel like I didn't have. Uh, how you live in a house? How do
Yeah.
you
How do you
afford a
maintain?
home? How
Yeah,
do you pay
basically, how you
for it?
maintain your
So
house. Yeah.
it's almost like two-sided in that sense because you could have had a teacher who did know everything, but he taught. Like you think about I don't know why I keep referencing Mr. Hall. Mr. Hall taught history.
Right.
Like, so a lot of the times his lesson plan was history. A lot of the times they were beating down his stroke on making sure we passed our tests and something of that nature. But, I'm sure you could have made the time to talk to us about money, but how much would it have been a priority to him if it wasn't one for us? And how could it have been one for us if it wasn't something we were exposed to or just influenced by to start that conversation? And I feel like this panel that we're having really probably is the first time people even had the opportunity or the space to be like, I had those kind of thoughts. I had no one to talk to about,
Right.
had no motivation to go out and do anything because it just wasn't something I seen, just a thought that was fleeing. Thought about it and then, okay, whatever. Everybody struggle where I'm from. Everybody work all their life. Everybody do this and
They
do that.
work,
So
hustle.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah. 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 I think it's definitely like a never ending cycle. And so I guess the how to fix the issue would be like it's not gonna happen in the school. I think the how to be would be like maybe to have more online panels because everybody's always on their phone. I mean, this I'm gonna ask y'all too, but this is just what I'm just thinking from listening. Like, some teachers may not know about it. Some teachers may not give a damn to talk about it. Then teachers have certain little things they have to meet because when you talk about a minority, like a rural area, the test scores are probably down. So you're just trying to pound in these kids' head what's going to be on these tests just to make sure the school is at a passing level or whatever the case may be with the school system. So, you know what I'm saying? You just want the school to prosper versus the child prospering. You know what I'm saying? You're just trying to make sure your job secure. So, and I mean, I don't blame them. I don't fault them for that. You worked hard to get to become a teacher and it's your job to push this agenda. So that's what you set forth to do. But I guess, with the COVID and everything going on and just, with the, maybe, we should start hosting more online panels for just, not see, because you can do it so broad where you're talking about like the different people that are like little speakers and stuff like that. But maybe we need to do something more local. You know what I mean? Maybe we need to do something more on a local standpoint, putting it out on our Facebooks and who's interested in it and who wants to better themselves and who wants to learn something new. It's because everybody loves money anyway. Everybody is financially driven. Maybe that is a how. What do y'all think of ways?
So for me, now that you mentioned online, I think there are 4 locations where we can have like workshops, financial workshops. So you got online platform, you got the church, you got the school, and then you got the recreational centers. So I spent like 2 years in Tupelo working on my job, and I was on the financial committee for a little while for this church called Whitehill.
Right.
We had the plan to have a financial literacy workshop. And this was for all ages, old, young, kids, and all that. And we hit on almost everything except for probably investing. But we hit on credit cards, getting a loan, saving your money, teaching kids about counting money, understand money, teaching the adults about protecting themselves, about getting a mortgage, what they need to do as far as applying and qualifying. And for the older people, like protecting their identity and protecting their wealth, because obviously the older people generation are like very vulnerable. Mm-hmm. We need to use these locations where Black people are accustomed to gathering it. Right. Of course, church, people there at least once or two times out of the week.
Right.
Use the location to put out that information and have those educate people, and then also help them like practice and learn it and sit with them until they get it instilled into their minds.
And man, I'm ride Derek back the whole damn night.
No,
Look,
it's cool.
two more things, right? I got a fifth place, home.
Yeah.
It has to start from home. But if parents are, because let's be real here, if we were kids in a community, our parents were brought up in the same community, how likely are they to even be able to offer anything to us? Now, right now with the pandemic, children, young adults are spending so much time at home.
Right.
And even if you put the pandemic aside, we had, band, we had friendships and things like that. But even spending that 8, 10, 12 hours a day in some type of school setting, you still got to go home.
Mm-hmm.
So something like I picked up on in just working therapy is I always tell my kids, like, dosage. You got to continue to dose information, the same information over and over again repetitively for your mind to be able, to work it, right? Like, okay, I'm getting it now. I'm practicing now. I'm applying it now. I'm hearing it more now. And
Right.
so, like he said, you got the church, you got the recreation center, you got all these different places, and then you come back home and it's the same thing. In that case, it's all around you, and you're able to get more of it, in those different settings. But dang, I lost my second point. Something else I was about to say too. But it'll come back. But I know that's a big thing too. Like we have to really reinforce that point that it has to be in the home. It has to be in the home too. And for it to be in the home, parents gotta really stand about themselves, come out of that ego, come out of that, well, this is how I've always done it, or,
Yeah.
it ain't my kids' business. This L talked about.
Yeah.
You're not even comfortable. I wasn't comfortable with having a conversation with my mom and dad about everything, and sometimes if I had those conversations, my mom would honestly and genuinely say, baby, I don't know, but I could take you to the library. So that was the best she could do as being a resource for me. And
Yeah.
I love
My
my
mom,
mama
she
to
did
death,
something.
and I'm
Yeah.
here where I am because of her. But that wasn't good enough. You know
Yeah,
what
it
I'm saying?
wasn't
Like,
good enough.
imagine
Yeah.
if she
Definitely.
had that information in the home and enough so much to where my little mind could keep going and keep asking questions, because that's how
Right.
we learn, man. So it got to be in the home too. It got to be in the home too.
And just to touch on what you said, because I know how people think in a way. Um, when he says his mom didn't know, it was that's the problem we need to stop. And it's the reason his mom didn't know. The same reason we didn't know, because nobody ever taught us. So, do you want your kids? Because it's not so much about us. It's about us, because we do have to provide the future for the children that we go and conceive and reproduce. But the thing is, do you want your kids to grow up ignorant to certain things the way that you grew up ignorant to them? I
Yeah.
think that's the main thing. So when Jeremiah said you have to retract that pride and that ego, and you just sit and learn something, man. It's not always about, well, I gotta, I don't need no help. Everybody don't need no help. Don't nobody need no help. We understand. Nobody needs help, but I need help. You know what I'm saying? I'm not ashamed to say I need help. So, you have to pull your ego out the way and just say, I want to learn something new to teach to my kids, man. I don't know it all. That's the main thing. Like Jeremiah said, that was a big word, ego. You have to take your ego out of the equation. That's how I feel. You have to take your ego out of the equation.
And that second point, and I shut up and let somebody else talk, was appeal. We gotta stop thinking that a book bag, free lunch, a trip, right, is it's good enough to bribe and get the people there, but how can you keep them there while they're there? Because they just come in there to benefit from the incentive of what they can put their hands on and see.
Yeah.
we
What
gotta
I'm
be able to market this information in a way where it's actually something that they feel like is necessary, willing, interesting, and
yeah.
fun to learn. So one thing I learned, and this may be something that I can push off to you guys, was I hated hearing the word business. It was something that I was intimidated by. I felt like it was like this huge, like if you say business out loud, I think of this big book and a bunch of white people. And I ain't gonna say neither, which I
Yeah.
don't like. I love them both, but
Yeah.
it made me like, I ain't finna put my hands on it. And that goes to me going to college. I really feel like I chose the wrong major because I was too intimidated by how I felt about the term. But when you say something about profit, oh yeah, let's talk about that, right? So
Yeah. Let's talk about
that's
profit.
simple
Yeah.
enough for me. But for our kids, we got to be able to talk to them in a way that they can relate to it. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be music, like Ken Home for you, it just your personality. You're a comic at the least. So that makes people comfortable. And if they're comfortable enough to let their guard down, their ego is gonna fold with it. You know what I'm saying? But also it's gonna keep them there with you. So we gotta have something other than like I said, a book bag or a trip
Yeah.
or free
I
lunch
think. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
keep them people
Yeah.
like engaged. Like put it this way, like what are people on now? Like whether it's a man or female, you think about a woman, and I probably get slaughtered for this, but a lot of them on fashion, gossip, that kind of media type stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Why you never ask yourself, I love this stuff so much. How can I find a gap that's not offered in the world, open my own business, and profit
Thank
from
you.
what I love to do?
Yeah.
That's called being
Yeah.
business oriented. You know what I'm saying? But man,
Hey,
that
it's
you
funny
gotta
you said
find it. You
that.
gotta find it.
This is the fun. It's funny you said it. It's so crazy you said that because I just found it. Like I've been searching for this for a little minute. This is the like top 5 funniest tweets I've heard ever. It said, order a
Let's hear it,
McDouble
boy.
instead of a double cheeseburger. Take that 20 cent you save on the extra slice of cheese, get you an LLC, start a business, and make some real cheddar, man. I just thought that was the funniest
I,
shit ever, man. My boy said, start you,
yeah, I
I mean,
see
make
that
this
shit,
some
man.
real cheddar. But, I think that's the thing, though. It is about appeal. That's what it's about. How can you appeal to a person? Like, and I think that's, now, I will say this. It don't matter what type of education you got or anything. I think that teachers did us a disservice by not asking all of us in high school, what do you want to be? Nobody ever asked me that. Ain't nobody ever asked me what you want to be. They just said, go to college. I told my teacher on
Okay.
purpose because I've always been an asshole. I told my teacher on purpose, I don't want to go to college. You gonna have to go. Why? You just gotta go. Exactly. That's why I'm not fucking going. You can't tell me why. You can't tell me why I should go. You ain't asking me what I want to go to college for.
But
Y'all ain't got no list of college courses, the different fields in college. You don't have anything. You just saying go to college. Go to college. If you don't go to college, you ain't shit. But moving forward,
but Kenny, I'm gonna tell you like this though. It's like the teachers they really didn't. It's a cycle. They went through the same thing we're going through. Ain't nobody taught them. It was pounded in their head. Especially teachers. Growing up from the '70s, '80s. All they know is like, oh, college, to have a better life, go to college. So they
right?
immediately pushing that agenda on us. But
But
now we in the world of the internet, so we exposed to a lot more, and we, what I'm saying, like putting a little blame on the teachers, but we got a lot of exposure now. It's so like I'm on Twitter, Instagram, even TikTok, and I'm just following nothing but like finance pages, and it's just in my face every day. So like that exposure is like critical because you need to see it every day to almost be like a subconscious type of thing in your mind. Like, oh, what I'm saying, you just looking at business oriented social media or just anything like that.
Yeah.
okay,
Because I
yeah, you're
say,
right. What I say there?
so I think what would be helpful, like just throwing the solutions out there is like, you talk about exposure. So one, you got social media, but when we talk about like in the school and classroom, kids need to be exposed to the different types of careers that they can go into. you know about doctor, police, firefighter, attorney. All right, we know the basics, whatever. But what about all these other type of careers that are out there that you just don't know about until you become an adult? It's like, damn, hold on, I can do this, I can do this, I can do that. Not just with a college degree, like you hear more people talk about those actual trade careers that a lot of people didn't even think. Like, yeah, I can be a plumber. And if I'm in the right location, I can make some good money with this trade. I ain't got to go to college because colleges ain't for me.
Right.
But in my case, I'm a lender. But I never thought about being a lender until I got to college, until like my last year, my final year of college. That's when it finally was drilling in my head, like, oh, this is a career for me. But never thought of it in high school, because I never was exposed to it.
It goes back to that disadvantage. We don't get information as a child. We get it. It's almost like trauma, man. We have to learn through mistake and through
trial and error.
Through loss. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? And through disadvantage. And what the problem is with that is for Derek, he looked up. But I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. And I ain't trying to sound like no pity, but social work was not what I was supposed to do.
Nah, you don't
But you
sound like
had
a
it.
pity case. You know how many friends I got that did graduate? That's like, man, I got a friend right now. He like what he do, but he's finding something else. And when that something else that he's doing now starts really booming, like it's starting to boom, he already
Mm-hmm.
said he's sweeping that other stuff away, like he's not doing it no more.
And so
So,
what would happen for me is I would say, okay, what is it that you're good at? I read this book, Steve Harvey, Jump, and he talks about what's your gift. Your gift is something that was naturally, given and I guess embedded in you that you can just really do well. And so I started there. I said, okay, I'm pretty good at communication. I love music. I love helping people.
yeah,
So I went, man. I started out. I think I did communication. I was so simple minded, right? I knew nothing. So where it's like my major when I started out as a freshman was communication. What steered me away from communication because I thought I was gonna be a motivational speaker, some crazy crap like that. Was you had to take like 4 semesters of Spanish. I said, "Cuz I ain't trying to leave the U.S. I go when I'm vacating, but I ain't what I'm trying to learn Spanish for, right?" So I changed my major. I changed to English Ed. I was like, okay, so as a teacher, I can now be that mentor I always aspired to be. But also because I love communicating so much, I find it important to be, I guess, grammatically correct or be an efficient and effective, talker or whatever. And so started off with that, but then it was just like little stuff that was really I appreciate now. That really said, nah, that ain't it either. Because it was like, at that point, it was like, man, I don't want to grade papers all my life. And teacher salary ain't hitting on nothing. So I ended up with social work because it gave me that freedom for I thought it did. Man, with social work, you can pretty much tap into any field. You know what I'm saying? You got financial, you got legal, you got the typical governmental type thing, you got school setting, you got so many different things. You enjoy helping people, you love talking to people, do social work. But now I've come to realize that what my truest, thing would probably be helping people with their finances or being able to have a space where it's a little bit more focused on money. So it ain't got to be a accountant, it ain't got to be an advisor, nothing like that. But I do know that I'm really fascinated by numbers when it come to money.
right.
But so if I could have did it all over, I probably would have did something in that thing. But like we go back to what we were saying, we didn't have that mentor, we didn't have
Yeah,
that
Mm-hmm.
inspiration, and
yeah.
so I know Kenny, you got to talk about something else, but I would like for us to touch base on three things real quick, right? Inspiration. We're talking about the community. Inspiration, motivation, education, right? So you might JB, education, I mean, motivation and inspiration, same thing. Well, to me, I look at them differently. Inspiration is from within, right? How can I intrinsically find something that pushes me, right? Motivation is what I can see, and that drives me to actually put forth the effort. Then education is how I do it. So how do you guys feel like in those three terms or those three categories? how much did Tunica offer you in that?
Shit, not a lot. You may see a nigga riding down the street with some 24s on his car with a a high school chick in the
On the
passenger,
lack.
Man.
pregnant. I mean, it wasn't much. I mean, as far as inspiration goes, I feel like, you inspired to be a lot. I mean, if you didn't have no inspiration, when you talk from an internal standpoint, it's kind of like damn. But when it comes to motivation in Tunica, like it wasn't a lot. Like you have the guys in the hood, like I said, with the car with the rims on it. Then you got the teachers. Then you got like the guys like James Dunn and stuff like that. And James Dunn did teach an entrepreneur class, but it was slim pickings, man. You see Coach Dace ride around. He got Escalade with like nice rims on and shit like that. He a principal, and you like, damn, that's how principals doing it. So it was different things, but it wasn't a lot of motivation. But I mean, it's just a rural area. But this what I was going. I mean, I want to go back to this real quick before we go to the next topic. This what I meant. Maybe I worded it wrong when I spoke on teachers don't ask you what you want to do, what you want to be. Yes, those teachers may have graduated school in the 70s or something and went off to college, but those teachers are not ignorant to that it's engineers out here, it's bankers, that is plumbers with, they went to school with people with plumbing businesses. They went to school with people that are electricians, that are good with their hands, that have their own mechanic shop. See, the thing is not, everybody want to shoot for the stars. What do you like to fucking do? That's the thing. It's not all about all this money. It's about what do you like to do and how can you take better control of your life, your finances. That's the thing. And that's what I initially meant by that with the teachers. They did us a disservice because they didn't take the time to personally figure out what everybody likes to do, to at least throw it out there. What do you like to do? You like to work with your hand, shit like that. And I know I get to talking to, chicks I mess with, they got kids and stuff. And I be like, I be talking to the kids and I be like, damn, well, this child should do this child should do that. And sometimes I think I did myself a disservice. Maybe I should have been a damn teacher.
Hey, but that's the problem, man. That's really the problem, bro.
Yeah, man, crazy.
That might, I agree. That probably would have been the latest class in the whole school.
Yeah,
but look at it like this, right? So I hate to sound like I ain't even gonna use problem oriented. I think as a social worker, I've sort of developed this skill to find a gap in service, right? And that's what I appreciate, because that's how profitable business come about. What does the world don't already have, and how can I be the first person to do it? That's part of an issue, because like you said, too many people focus on how they did it, so they're biased to what they know. We all are by default. I can only give you what I got. You know what I'm saying? So if all I did was go to college, if all I was told was go to college, I might be well aware of other things going on, but this is the only way I can tell it to you. So that might be something to hit on too. Like just look at it that way. Like a lot of people can't really speak to those things because they're just not able to. Like we got to understand that people are only capable of being capable.
You're right. But we're gonna move to the next topic. I think I'm gonna break this down into different like a part 1 and a part 2. And this is something I talk about. This is something I joke a lot about. This next topic we're gonna talk about, which is go pretty much be a highlight for Derek, because he is in the banking world. So this is something I always talk about. There's so many people that love chime cards, and I talk shit about everybody that praise chime cards. But Derek, I want you to, just touch on the importance of banking. Having a bank account,
So I'm gonna start with my area of expertise, which is like business lending.
Right.
So you know, for the most part, for a lot of people, eventually, if they able to start a business or whatever, especially dealing with real estate, you may eventually need to get a loan, you know, especially, yeah, to get extra capital, get ever access. I know everybody don't like to get debt, but sometimes there's such thing as good debt. So, but in order to get the business loan, it's important to establish a good relationship with the bank. Because your banker, when you have a good relationship with a banker, the right banker will advocate for you and will educate you on the things that you need to provide them, that how you need to even run your business a little bit better. When they understand your business a little bit better, they can give you a little bit of advice, especially when it comes to your cash flow. So, one, you want to establish a good relationship with the bank. Definitely want to have a deposit relationship before you have a lending relationship. Then you want to talk one-on-one with your lender or bank or whatever to understand the documentation you need, just in case you need to get a loan. Then just talk one-on-one with a banker when you come for the loan and say, all right, here's my numbers. Here's what my cash flow looks like. The banker is going to look at your numbers. They're going to do a cash flow analysis. All right, yeah, you qualify for this loan. Or, yeah, you qualify for this loan, but your cash flow here this year is looking a little bit short, you know, or it looks like you have a lot of expenses that you probably don't really need to have, you know. And that ain't saying bankers are like the smartest people in the world, but because if you're able to establish a good relationship with them and they can learn you and learn your business, they can actually advise you on how to be a better business owner. So that's one thing as far as business. Then on the personal side, again, you know, you need the banking institution pretty much is so important because they pretty much control the cash flow in the economy. So where you go to get a mortgage, you go to the bank. You know, where when you need a safe place to put your money, when you're not investing, where you put it at is in the bank. When you talk about community and we talk about financial education, the bank is a good source for that because, of course, bankers they have to apply or follow do CRA credit, which is like Community Reinvestment Act. They have to be involved in their communities. So you might see bankers doing financial literacy education, and they also are a good resource for connecting with other people. So you might have a business person over here that you never met, but they in real estate. They might have some connections that you might not have. And you might be saying, man, I need a carpenter or I need a repair person or I need a roofer. Let me call my bank and say, hey, you know anybody? Yeah, so-and-so. I know so-and-so. They do roofing. Let me connect you. Now you have just opened up your network. So that's another thing. Networking is something that you can get through banking.
That's huge.
Yeah.
I know. So this one thing that I wanted to point out when it comes to banking and mortgages and taking out loans and just establishing a business and things like that. I want you guys to tell me how you feel about this quote. Rich Dad Poor Dad said it. Now, we're prone to the overused statement of, find it is what you love to do, go to school and do it so you can work, so you can get a job and never work a day in your life, right? Rich Dad Poor Dad said, invest in what you love to do and learn and basically invest in what you love to do, but do what you don't like to do. So, for example, for me, I love helping people. I love communicating with people. But what I really love is traveling. What I really love is, of course, like we all love money, but I really see vision in, being able to make my earnings earn me earnings so that I can do things in like philanthropy, right? Actually do things on a bigger scale. And so what that quote meant to me, invest in what you love to do and learn and working what you have to do. I wish I had a mentor, first of all, but I wish that somebody would have told me that, because I would have probably said, okay, well, I'm gonna go and be that person who go and really take the toughest program at my PWI, whether it be engineering med school or whatever it is that I know gonna give me a large capital, or what it is that I know the world is in need of, right? So I can just make myself profitable off top. And you may be like, well, man, that's a very like sad case where you got a career that you hate, okay, but you have capital to invest in what you love. So what do you guys think about that, right? You get a career that you may very, or you learn things that discomfort you, right? So for me, like right now, I'm learning investing and trading and things like that, and it's really tough starting out. And anything is really tough. But what I also my vision says that you go through that tough stuff. You learn up on investing, you learn up on trading, you learn up on options, and all these things. And when you get to a point where you're really good at it, I might not ever love trading other than the part of where I make money, but when that capital comes in, I can use it to what I love to do. So what do you guys think about that as opposed to the highly referenced statement? Go to school or get a trade or do something that you love to do so that you don't ever work a day in your life. And my statement is invest in what you love to do after you do what you have to do to have that money to invest in it. That makes sense.
I probably wouldn't agree with that second part. That's just something I wouldn't put myself through. Being as in like I was in the army for 4 years and I was depressed every year I was in the army. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather do what I love and have a sound and harmonic peace of mind instead of this everyday pounding out and trying to get through what you don't like to do. I feel like that could lead to like a mental state you don't even want to be in, let alone have to be in. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
the grinding aspect of it, like of course grind, but just grind doing something you love because you can also, double down on it. Do what you love and invest at the same time. I feel like that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. The way I guess I'd take that is like, yeah, like you said, work hard right now or work your way up to maybe the career where you want to be at or work up your way to the place that you want to be at. Like Denzel said, like you don't never want to be in a place where you just so mentally drained. Like some people right now, some people out there are making good money, but they're losing this up here. Like it ain't good up here, and they struggling right
Right.
now. They ain't able to focus on the things they like. Their family, like the whole reason why they making the money is for their family, but they ain't able to focus on their family. But at the same time, as a young person at our age, yeah, we grinding right now until we able to find something that we have a passion for.
Right.
And then we just take, like the corns or the knowledge and the skills that we gain from the grind and then take that and carry that over into something that we can actually just make us happy and happy, like investing and stuff like that. So, but of course, some people don't want to get in the grind. Some people don't want to grind hard. They want a handout. They want it the easy
Yeah.
way. They're not willing to work for it.
You're right.
So, what you got, man? Because that really came from a point that you made too, where you were like, my teacher didn't ask me what I love to do or what I like to do or what I wanted to do. Because let's be real, how many of us had a light? And this going back to our children, right? How many of us truly was able to define what it is that we not only love to do, but what careers that were out there at that time or even in the future that was related to that. Like, you may have a lot of people at that time where all they know is music, and it ain't good enough to tell them, well, you can be, or you can go into audio production, or you can be a musician, or you can be an artist, right? It sound good, and it's enough to get them out your face, but how can you really give this young man, young woman, vital information that's going to push them to go and seek that out? And that's why I say, for me, I find motivation out of anything. You know what I'm saying? I find motivation through struggle. And so if somebody told me, man, do whatever you got to do to get what you need to do what you want to do. And I think we're all coming from the same place. But for me, I was intimidated again by that business stuff. I was intimidated by doing something hard. I'm sort of like I'm that cliche Derek said, well, I really didn't. I mean, everybody know that, when I was in school, I seemed like I seemed smart because I finessed. You know what I'm saying? It's like I want to get everything I have to get to graduate, but I don't want no hard classes. You know what I'm saying? And that's what makes me look like I excel. But no, now I'm saying give me whatever it is that I have to have. Not saying I want the hard stuff, but give me whatever it needs I have to have so that I can know I can make myself profit. And then I know at some point that turnaround is going to be me being able to do that music if it what it was. If I got enough money from being a doctor and I want to be, I don't know, a rapper, depending on what my capital is, I don't need no deal. I can start my own label.
Yeah, that's
You
what
see what I'm
I
saying?
I kind of agree with you in a way. I see where they're coming from too, but I kind of agree with you in a way. And but I think just from listening, I think the main thing is what is your true passion? So, that's the main thing. Like if you're true, like let's say you want your own plumbing business. I wouldn't tell you to go do what you want. I mean, go do what you don't like to get what you want, because for the simple fact, you can go work for a plumbing business, save your money, budget your money, and open up your own plumbing business. That's why we're talking about building relationships with bankers and things like that, because once in that case, no, don't do what you don't like to do to get what you want. But for me, for instance, I like doing what I'm doing right now with y'all. I like sitting down talking to people on podcasts, radio, stuff like that. That's what I like to do. That's what I love to do. Will that possibly make me some money? No, but I'm working a job that I wouldn't say I hate. I don't hate my job, but I'm working somewhere that I rather be doing this. So this is not making me money though. So right now I'm using what I got and what I kind of, got a likeness for to make me money and invest it in it. So, I invest in equipment. I invest in new software. I invest in, different things to take my podcast to the next level and to get me more exposure. So I agree with you on that, because it just depends on what you're truly interested in. That's what it all plays down to. What are you truly interested in? If you have dreams of doing something, and then you have to know when to let something go too. But like something like this, I can do for the rest of my life, because I got passions and other things, but I'm young. I don't have kids and then, so, I'm still youthful. I can do this right here. Try this. I can swing at this for like 2 years and I still got time to do other stuff. So that's it. But that's my situation.
No,
but
that's real. That's real.
Yeah, if you have a situation where you want to be a rapper, you want to be a videographer or something like that, yes, go work at a warehouse, go work, but I would still say go work somewhere where you kind of, you have some type of attraction to. Make some money, get your capital, invest into what you want to do, and do that on the side. Like when I get off work, I turn on my camera. So, it's just those, I think, so I agree with both sides. I can understand both sides. It's really just on what you really want to do. But this is part one of this discussion. Huh? What did you say?
And your situation.
Yeah, it's all about what's going on, your situation. That's what it's all about. Yeah. But this is part one of this discussion. If you enjoyed part one, then definitely tune in. Yeah, definitely. That's why I'm cutting it off right now. That's why. So if you enjoyed part one, definitely tune in for part two. And thanks for watching the Roulette podcast. We out.